Hey guys, welcome back to Paradise Lost in Books. I'm Christy, and today I am bringing you my very overdue January wrap-up. I read a lot of books in January, at least a lot for me. I don't have a whole lot of free time to read, so when I get to read as many books as I have, it's kind of an exciting moment. I did want to tell you guys that I'm going to be doing my book talks a little bit differently. When I started this channel, I really wanted to try and review every book I read, because who wouldn't want to review every book they read in a perfect world? But I just don't have the time for that. I'm uploading maybe one video a week, two in a really good week, and it's just not enough time. I mean, I finished the selection series in December, and I just uploaded my book talk for the final video like this week. So I'm definitely going to have to cut that down. So I'm probably only going to do 2 or 3 book talks a month on the books that I had the biggest opinions on, whether I really loved it, really hated it, was really disappointed by it, was really surprised by it, whatever. And I'll kind of do a mini review in my wrap-ups of the other books I read, so you can still hear my thoughts on them, but without spoilers, and just kind of like a brief 15 to 30 second snippet of what I thought. So I'm actually going to start with 2 books that I read in December, but I wanted to include anyway because I really wanted to talk about them. So let's get to it. The first book is Happily Ever After, which is by Kiera Cass, and it is a set of novellas from the Selection series. I gave this about 4 stars out of 5 because I got to see the behind the scenes of some really great characters like Marley and Celeste and Maxon, and I also got to know more about Queen Amberly, and I really like how this book has illustrations in it. The stories I had different opinions on. Amberly's story wasn't what I expected it to be, but Marley's story was truly amazing and probably my favorite story in the whole set. So if you liked the Selection series, you'll definitely enjoy reading this and getting the full backstory. I will say though, I'm still disappointed we don't have a short story on Maxon and America as a couple, and I don't count the scene with her telling him that he's pregnant because I want a novella on their lives together and how they overthrew the caste system and the whole process. I want that story, and I do not have that story yet, and that is my only complaint right now. So the next book I read was The Siren by Kiera Cass, because if I read her other series, I might as well go ahead and read The Siren. I give this about a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was a really cool idea. The main character, Colin, she is rescued by real sirens and is turned into a siren. In the novel, you stay a siren for 100 years. You can't talk except to sing or talk to other sirens. It's kind of a love story. It's not really the focus. I thought the ending was really cheesy and kind of lame. I wasn't super impressed by it, but the creativity of the idea of the novel was enough to keep me hooked. And if you like mythology and weird love stories, I think you'll enjoy this. Moving into January, I finally finished the Miss Peregrine series with Library of Souls. Dear God, this book took me about 8 months to read. I hit a serious reading slump with this book. I don't know what happened. I mean, I ended up really liking it. I'd say like 3.75 stars, maybe 4 stars, but after the first Miss Peregrine book, I just really wasn't hooked on this series. I didn't particularly care for Hollow City, and the beginning of this book just really left something to be desired. Once I got into it, I really got into it. I couldn't put it down, and I was ready to get through it, but I would have just preferred Miss Peregrine to be a standalone book. I just didn't love the rest of the series. I did like the writing style. The characters I thought were well written, and I thought the story wrapped up really nicely, but I don't know. I have a weird relationship with this book. Moving into the part of January where I was reading for the biannual Bibliothon, which, by the way, I completed all of the challenges except for the one where you were supposed to read a book that was recommended to you. That was the only one I didn't finish. So, the first book I read was Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. 4 stars out of 5 for this book. It was a really interesting idea. I thought the main character was very funny, very interesting. I thought the idea was really unique. I felt like I hadn't seen something like this before, and I really like a good historical fiction. I could really tell the author did her research. I will say that the ending was really predictable, and sometimes the main character kind of felt a little anachronistic. She seemed like a modern feminist in the Victorian era, and sometimes it felt like the message of feminism was kind of being beaten to your head with a hammer. But other than that, I did really enjoy this book, and if you like historical fiction, I think you'll like it too. The next book I read in January is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. Guess who's late to the Lunar Chronicles train? It's me. I actually really enjoyed this book, like 4 stars out of 5, maybe 4.5. This is probably one of my favorite future Earth worlds that I've seen. I feel like it's very well thought out, very well developed. The author did a really good job of making the reader feel immersed in the world. It didn't really feel forced or anything. I really liked the characters. Sometimes a little bit cliche, a little bit stereotypical, but I really enjoyed it, and I really love what she did with the fairy tales in this. I'm in the middle of Scarlet right now, so no spoilers please, but I'm really enjoying how she is making the fairy tale retellings not only modern, but futuristic, fantasy. It's really cool to see, and I'm really, really looking forward to reading the rest of this series. The next book I read in January is Battle Royale by Koshan Takami. Holy crap, I loved this book so much. 5 stars, 5 stars. This was such a good book. I mean, it wasn't perfect. It's kind of like the Hunger Games, but Battle Royale came first. The idea is that in the future, the Japanese government is conducting experiments, and they take a whole freshman class, which is 42 students in this book, and they drop them on an island, and it's basically a fight to the death. They give them weapons and stuff, and they just have to fend for themselves. This was so much more brutal than the Hunger Games, but I'm gonna do a full book talk on this one because of how much I loved it. So keep your eye out for that, because I will fully talk about how much I loved this book when that time comes. The next book that I read in January was The Call by, dear God, please let me say this right, Haydar Ogwilin? I hope I said that right. I'm sorry, you're a beautiful writer. Please don't be mad that I messed up your name. I listened to it on audiobook, and the reader, whose name I'm going to put here because I can never remember the reader of the audiobooks when I'm doing these videos, but her Irish accent was beautiful and sometimes hard to understand, but beautiful. But if you don't know about this book, it is set in Ireland. There are these mythological creatures called the Shiva that are calling Irish teenagers to their land, the Greylands, and they have a day to survive being hunted by the Shiva. And if they catch you, the way they kill you is nothing short of horrific. But the day in the Greylands is only 3 minutes and 4 seconds in our world. This is a fantastic, very unique dystopia / fantasy. Never really seen anything like this before, and again, I'm going to do a full book talk on this one because I loved it so much, so that's going to be going up really soon. The next book that I read in January was Dreamology by Lucy Keating. I actually listened to this audiobook, and I was a little disappointed in this book. I went into it with really high expectations because I find a lot of contemporary YA romances to be really tropey and cliche, and this one sounded really promising. It's about a girl who has been dreaming of this boy her whole life, and one day she moves and goes to school, and the boy is in her class. So that's obviously a little awkward, but there were some really quirky, sweet moments. I liked the way the author wrote the characters, but in the end, it ended up just being kind of cheesy, and the ending was so predictable that it kind of physically hurt, and I really didn't like the main love interest, and I found myself really pissed off at the main character pretty frequently for her blind devotion to her dream boy. So I don't know. I think it's still better than most contemporary YA. I think I'd give it like 3 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read in January was If You Could Be Mine by Sarah Farazan. I really enjoyed this book. I'd give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I have been wanting to add more diverse fiction to my reading list, and I think I really got that with this book. It's about 2 girls who live in Iraq, and they are best friends, and they've been in love for basically their whole lives, but then one of the girls' parents arranges a marriage for her, so obviously that's really difficult for both of them. I really enjoyed being immersed in this culture that I've never really had any exposure to. Really seeing Iraq through the eyes of someone who really knows what they're talking about is very enlightening. I will say that again, the main character was very annoying. Her solution to their problem is mind-blowingly stupid, and I don't really understand why she went there. I mean, I do, but I don't. You'll have to read the book to understand what I'm talking about, but it's certainly worth reading, even though I was a tiny bit disappointed in how it went. It was a really quick read. I think it was only like a 5 or 6 hour listen, and it was very emotional. I really felt the character's pain and emotions on a deep level. The last book that I read in January was The Red Notebook by Antoine Lorraine. This was an extremely quick book to listen to. I listened to a lot of audiobooks. This book is about a woman who gets mugged in Paris and her bag is stolen. The thief dumps her bag and a man who owns a bookshop finds it. He starts going through the contents and trying to put the pieces together to find out who the bag belongs to. There were some really weird parts in this book that I kind of felt uncomfortable reading, but as a whole, I really enjoyed it. Even though the ending was predictable, I kind of knew what I was getting into based solely on the description and, you know, the type of book it is. But it was really cute reading how he, you know, got to know her through the items in her bag and, you know, how the whole mystery unfolds. It was predictable, but it was still fun to read. You know, I really enjoyed listening to this book, and I like a reader with an accent, and his French accent is native. I really enjoyed it, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Alright guys, that is it for my January wrap-up. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, I do hope you will give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you can get more videos like this in the future. Comment down below and tell me what you think I should read in February. I am really bad at TBRs, so I won't probably be doing a lot of those videos. I kind of just pick things up as I go. I mean, obviously there are some things I really want to read, like A Court of Wings and Ruin, but that doesn't come out till May. So let me know what you think I should read next, and let me know what you read in January. Maybe I'll get some ideas from that too. Until next time, guys, bye!